Hi, my name is Dave. Today we're going to look at a Celestron Comet Catcher. It's from about the 1980s, around the time of Halley's Comet, mid-1980s. It's a Schmidt-Newtonian, which is a Newtonian with a corrector plate on the front. It's a 5.5-inch telescope with a focal length of about 500 millimeters. This was designed to capture the imagination of people looking for the Halley's Comet back in the 1980s. It's hard to tell how successful it was. There were many Comet Catcher telescopes sold right around those days. Hard to tell how successful this one was. This was actually a good telescope for looking for comets. It's perfect. It's a very fast telescope, short focal ratio, low power. Plenty of aperture to see something that's faint. Reasonably good optics. I mean, the Schmidt-Newtonian is a compromised telescope in terms of the optics. It's better than a Newtonian, but it's not as good as some of the other possible optical designs. Nevertheless, it's a very good telescope for the function. Yeah, let me give you a couple of good looks at this thing. It's the Schmidt-Newtonian design. Has a corrector in the front. There's a nice metal cap on it. Let's see, I'm sure you can see what's going on here. There's a corrector plate here in the front. The focus is interesting because what happens here is there's a sled here, sort of a sliding device with the eyepiece on it. And that sliding device moves back and forth like this. You can see the whole housing on the inside moving back and forth. Very unusual, quite uncommon for that to be going on. The reason there is because that with that kind of a design you can set this up so that it can easily be used for photography. You can change the focal point of a camera, for example, quite a bit by sliding it back and forth on this sled device. Let me give you a better look at that. Here's the sled focuser. You can see what happens is as it moves back and forth, the whole inner mechanism with the secondary mirror on there slides back and forth. This is a 26 millimeter plossa, which is much too low a power. Really, it's you know, with this focal ratio and everything, that would give you an exit pupil that's much bigger than your eye can accommodate. Even a young person would have difficulty with that. It should be used maybe with a 15 millimeter, 18 millimeter, something like that would probably be ideal. But this is good for low powers. You can still use this with that eyepiece for low powers. Look at the interesting bulge on the back of this thing. Looks kind of like a pregnant guppy. This was usually shown on a camera tripod. A good camera tripod is probably adequate for the scope. You're not going to use it with super high powers anyway, so a camera tripod would be probably just fine. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at the 1980s Celestron Comet Catcher 5.5-inch Schmidt-Newtonian. Thank you for watching.